Hello, welcome to SJ from the Heart. Today I'd like to talk about the most cheery, wonderful topic, domestic violence. Yes, SJ wants to talk about domestic violence. Why? Well, I've come to realize that it's my greater dream to be part of the solution to end domestic violence. Wow, that's a biggie. I know. Imagine if someone sat here 100 years ago and said they wanted to end racism. Where would you start? Yes, there still is racism in the world, but it's nothing like it used to be. So, how in the world to help stop domestic violence? I'm not going to say I know the answer to this. I don't. But I want to start. I just want to start. Maybe it's going to come through storybooks I'm going to write. Maybe interactions with children. Maybe just changing the mindset of people that it's just not okay. And domestic violence is not just physical violence. It's also emotional and verbal abuse. Now that one's a little more sneaky because you may not know about it. And the person receiving it may not even realize that's what it is. It's that sneaky. But I promise they just kind of don't feel really good about the person they're hanging out with who's saying all these mean things and denying it and saying, oh, it's no big deal. You're making a big deal out of all this. And so this isn't about complaining about domestic violence. It's here. It's on this planet. It happens. So I know it's here. I accept that. But it can end. It can. There's a solution out there. Or maybe there's 5,000 million and two solutions. But I'd like to be part of one. So I don't know exactly how that's going to look. But I wanted to go public. I wanted to go public and let the world know that this is one of my greater hopes. To be a part of a solution to end domestic violence. I can speak for myself that as a little girl, I was raised to be this nice little girl who went along with what people said. You don't want to make waves. Well, I know my parents had no intention of it at all. And it was probably how they were raised. But it created in me at times a passivity where inside of me, part of me was just wanting to scream out, what? But the bigger conditioning was to be nice, to not make waves. And so consequently, there were times when I wasn't treated very nicely by a guy. And it was weird when I think about it because I remember thinking, well, they can't really mean what they're saying. Surely not. And I know me, I have such a pure spirit that I could see their potential. I could see who they could be. And I also saw who they really were. And it just never even dawned on me to say, this is unacceptable. Get out. See ya. Never even occurred to me. The other day, I happened upon a journal I wrote when I was about 10, 11, 12-ish. And I remember having a crush on this particular boy, but I don't remember this part of it. I wrote in there something about he cusses. He's not very nice. And some things that weren't really attributes of a good boyfriend. Even if you're 10, 11, 12, at any age. And then I wrote, but I still like him. Where in the world did that come from? This desire to be liked by this boy who I thought was cute. And he was not kind to me. He was mean. He wasn't kind to others. He really wasn't that well liked by the community. Bizarre, huh? But somewhere this human me learned that. And it's okay. I'm really actually grateful I had that experience. I'm grateful I had all of these experiences because it's given me an awareness that would not have been possible otherwise. I've been with people who will say, why doesn't she leave him? She just needs to leave. And it's not that simple. She loves him. She can see who he can be or who he used to be. Or maybe she doesn't have a place to go. Maybe there are children. How's she going to live? Food, all that stuff. Okay, those are some solutions that are needed now for people who are victims or survivors of domestic violence. But what I really am passionate about is stopping it. Just stopping it, wiping it off of the face of the earth. And I think to start to do that is to work with children and to let them know that, number one, nobody can treat them disrespectfully. Nobody. And so part of that is not teaching our little girls that they need to be nice, always nice, and comply, to stand up for themselves. And I was like that. I thought I was like that for the longest time, and I was. But as soon as I attached, as soon as I had a boyfriend, something inside of me melted and just was like, oh, and gave him power over me. It was me, it wasn't him. Okay, at that point, it was completely me. And I saw a pattern in my life of doing that and doing things, activities that maybe were sort of fun, but weren't really what I wanted to do. And compromise, okay, to a point, but not so much that you swallow up and die. So SJ here, speaking from her heart, wants the world to know that I'm going to do my darndest to help find a solution to end domestic violence. And that's also the emotional kind. And I think it starts with letting kids know, number one, that treating anyone other than how they want to be treated themselves is unacceptable. Number two, boys need to be taught how to handle their emotions. They don't know how to handle their emotions, so it just comes out as anger. And I think sometimes they just don't know what's expected of them. And so they can get a woman here or a girl to be with them, and that becomes their punching bag. And if not literally physically a punching bag, someone they can take out their frustration on. Well, why don't we teach those boys how to handle those frustrations? Why don't we teach those boys it's okay to be angry? It's okay to have all these emotions, but it's not okay to put it on someone else. Why don't we teach them tools, what to do when they feel a certain way? So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to come about, but in one form or fashion or another, I'm opening myself to discover ways to help boys learn those skills, and girls too. And girls to learn that we don't need a knight in shining armor. Face it, we don't. And boys, you don't either. And I'm really happy to say that some of the movies and stories I've been reading, my cousin S.J. Daisy's been reading, and even movies, that movie Frozen that everyone likes, I got to see it not too long ago, and it was yay! She just wasn't waiting to be rescued. Girls, we don't need to be rescued. Everything that each and every one of us, boys and girls, and everyone, it's already inside of us. We have it already. Looking outside of us just gets us into trouble. It's all inside of us. So, I'm putting this out there in the world. So whoever you are watching this, wherever you are in the world, I'm calling on you to be part of my team. Or you can go your own way. Actually, I just don't care. But let's come up with a solution to end domestic violence. Yes, wouldn't that be extraordinary? 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, one generation. For people to think, what? That used to happen? How could that possibly happen? Someone who loves another could be so cruel to another? So, I'm a big dreamer, but I also see the potential in people. I do. And I see the love which resides in every single one of us. And I see the natural wisdom that each and every one of us has. It just needs to be pulled out. It needs to be cultivated and trained. So thank you. Thank you for coming on board with me on this most wonderful mission to find a solution to stop domestic violence. Thank you for joining me today with SJ from the Heart. I love you. Yes, I do.